in high school, I took a trigonometry class. When I left high school, that was the last time I've ever used trigonometry.
And the stress and everything, and the weight and the time that it would have cost you to spend on that, to try and learn it, to get on top of it,
It just wasn't there. And I was like, then there's a whole other suite of skills that I want them to learn.
Yeah.
I want them to learn the skill of curiosity.
Yeah.
That's a skill. I want them to be curious. I want them to be open-minded. I want them to be resilient.
In some way, did you question, did it take you a long time to get there? Kind of like, no, actually, we're going to go down the homeschool route. Because because it's instilled in us that this is what we do, to suddenly not be doing it, in some way, it's a strange place to be until you land on it with absolute certainty.
Oh, yeah, especially pre-COVID. Because I think, post-COVID, more people have an acceptance.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's mainstream at all.
No.
It's still, you're still going left when everyone's going right.
Absolutely.
But before COVID, it was only, your child must have some severe issue, or you have some severe issue where, you know what? Every child has issues. Every adult has issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're trying to help them to develop skills so that they will be the best human beings possible, right? And as the parent, as an active parent, we think we know best. We think we know our child best.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of just confusion.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? For what reason? And especially when we took them out of school, and then we started traveling with them.
Yeah.
They thought, okay, you just want to go on holiday. That's all you wanted to do. No. It's a whole nother level. When we go, our children are entrenched in the culture, in the history. They are journaling.
Because also I feel like learning is something that happens in four walls with a pen and paper. And for a lot of children, that is not the best way that they learn at all. It's actually detrimental to their learning, because they'll be so focused on the fact that they can't quite catch up with everyone else. They can't keep up, and therefore they're not learning.
No.
All they're thinking about is the pressure and the stress.
They need to be in the quote-unquote field.
Yeah.
There was, I think, one of the best field trips that we ever took our children on is we were homeschooling them. We had already quasi-moved to London at this point. And there was a gentleman that was talking to my son, to my youngest son. And my son then walks over and says, "Dad, he sounds like Dracula." He's like, "Is that Dracula?" And I said, "Oh, come on. No. And I said, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to walk over and we're going to say, 'Sir, you have an interesting accent. I'd love to know where you're from.'"
Yeah.
So we go over, and it takes him a while, but he works up the confidence, and he says, "You have a nice accent. Where are you from?" And the gentleman says, "Romania." And then he asked my son, "Do you know where Romania is?" And my son says, "I've never heard of Romania." So we then go into our room, and immediately, and this is part of, I think, super effective homeschooling, is that you have to be on top of these things.
Yeah.
And so we go in and we say, all right, go to the map. Let's see where Romania is. Oh, wow, Romania is, by flight, it's less than maybe 2 hours from London. Let's go to Romania this weekend. Let's go this weekend. And by the way, it sounds like a super place of privilege. I promise you, the tickets were like 39 pounds.
Right.
Like 39 pounds.
Yeah.
Cheaper to go fly than go to the pub,
Yeah.
We book tickets. We go to Romania that weekend, and we entrench ourselves in the story of Vlad Tepes, right? The actual who, Dracula was really formed around. And then being there in the environment changes things.
Yeah.
Like we're walking through this one area in Romania, and someone just starts touching my son's hair. Now, this is a big topic in the Black community. Well, I think it's just a big topic, period. But in the Black community, it's a big topic. And the touching of the hair, that then creates a conversation. Why are they doing this? Is that a violation of my person, the fact that they did this? Is it evil? Is it not evil? Like all of these these contemplations were not happening in that one fixed standard environment.
Yeah.
And so getting them out into the world, interacting, understanding, meeting resistance, is important. So the homeschooling was incredibly important. But then my children fired me.
No.
They did.
But so did they decide? Actually, we want to go to school now, or is Jill taken over?
Well, so Jill. By the way, Jill was doing 98% of this.
Yeah.
I had two main roles.
Okay.
I was the history teacher.
Okay.
And I was the physical fitness teacher.
Okay.
Right? Now, my kids fired me from being the history teacher. They fired me. I thought I was cool. I thought I was a cool teacher.
You took them to Romania.
I took them to Romania.
How rude.
Do you know what I used to do when I was teaching the French Revolution?
Yeah.
We would have French toast. Every time. I was like, this is so cool, isn't it? We'd have French toast. We'd talk about, hey, here's Napoleon was a wild guy, But they fired me. And then
under what grounds?
I have a fixation with the French Revolution.
Okay.
They didn't like that I kept going back to that.
Suddenly you just started singing Les Mis all the time. It was no longer fun.
It was they're like, this is not cool.
Yeah.
And so my wife then takes over history.
Right.
And then she's doing it all. She's doing it all. But then also around that time, where we were living in central London, there were no kids.
Right.
Like no kids.
And that is actually a massive part of homeschooling, is being able to socialise them still with other kids, because I think, they can socialise in a certain way with siblings. They can get away with a lot. And I know you actually focus a lot on their relationship. But actually interacting with children outside of the circle is really important as well.
It's very, and they were not getting it. And
Yeah.
to the point where we thought, wow, our youngest had a much harder time because they're now in school. So they've now been in school in the UK for 2 years.
How was that transition going back?
Oh, wow. It was like good and bad, light and days. So my youngest had the hardest time, to the point where he went to school the first day, so he was excited. He was like, oh, kids. Because keep in mind, he's been homeschooled with his older brother. He's going to Romania on field trips.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Those are kids. And he saw them. He saw his peers as children.
Yeah.
And so he goes to school, comes back home. He says, oh, that was fun. I'm not going back. Literally. He was like, yeah, that was fun. That was good. I'm not going back.
Nice field trip. Not doing it.
We were like, Liam, why? He said, they eat with their mouths open. You should see them. I was like, they're kids. You are a child. They are kids. And so he had this he was like, they pick their nose and I was like, they're kids. And so it took, I would say, months to work him back into the system. The school was beautiful because they allowed us to do all kinds of things. Like we would go for half a day. Yeah. Because even to get his stamina, that was one thing that, when you're homeschooling, we would go for, which I think actually is very effective for a child. Yeah. But we would go in spurts. Yeah. French Revolution, French toast might not be at 8 a.m. Maybe we do that at 7 p.m. Yeah. Maybe you've done, physical fitness earlier on. You've done this. So at school, they would have to sit for the however many hours, 8 hours, 7 hours. That stamina took him a while to build that stamina up.